This guy right here is back in this chapter of My Hero Academia, and in this video we're going to talk about everything going on with All Might's briefcase and the reason that it turned into a weird sort of Iron Might suit, I guess is what we're calling it. So let's talk about All Might's Iron Man suit and what exactly is probably in it to counter All for One after that intro. Hit it! Horikoshi's author comment this week was about loving the Mark V, which is the suit from Iron Man 2, and it's specifically the one that comes out of the briefcase that Tony puts on his body that becomes the Iron Man suit. But I think the other tie-in to Iron Man 2 is the fact that All Might's car also joins in, sort of calling back to the fact that Tony was at a supercar racetrack when this whole situation happened when he had to put that briefcase on in Iron Man 2. The other suit from this movie though likely has something that I think it'll be critical for All Might to have, which is something that can absorb or reflect high levels of energy. Much like the suit that Iron Man develops by the very end of the same film that the Mark V comes from. I definitely think that we're due for this parallel, and since All for One's giant electrical explosion is one of the strongest things we've seen from him, as well as some other electricity-based attacks, I think that not having something prepared for absorbing energy would definitely be really foolish by All Might. Also, we know that All for One stole Hawks' quirk, and we still haven't really seen a full-fledged pair of wings on his back, but he is flying at faster than sound speeds, considering the sonic booms that we see around him in this chapter. So All Might's not only going to need to be able to fly, but he's also going to have to be able to be really fast to keep up with everything going on with All for One and his speed. And we've seen that movements at this speed start to really wear down and tear away on Ida's armor, so I wonder what the effect it's going to have on All Might's armor is going to be like. And honestly, All Might's armor just has to be really durable, not only to take attacks from All for One, but also to not break apart from all the G-force created by moving as fast as he's probably going to need to in this battle. To put up any sort of fight against All for One, All Might is going to need some serious firepower in his Iron Might suit, which is just what I'm calling it, honestly. And I just can't see Horikoshi giving up on the opportunity to give All Might some sort of like laser or unibeam that dwarfs any laser or anything that we've ever seen in the series, just because of course it's All Might's. But I definitely think it'll also house other sorts of weapon systems specifically made to counter All for One thanks to all of All Might's experience. And I guess that's sort of the best weapon that the Iron Might suit has inside of it. We know that All Might got the data on All for One and all of his quirks from Stain thanks to the work that was done on him at Tartarus. And with that, I believe that All Might took everything that he personally knows about fighting All for One from their two previous battles and this data to create the perfect All for One Buster armor, meant to counter him at a level that even he himself can't predict, because it's not like All for One has its whole life in a set of data ready to figure out different countermeasures for how to defeat it. All for One's brain is very centered around quirks and using quirks as solutions to get around different situations, but here All Might is taking the very opposite approach and using technology. The biggest weakness that All Might has here is that he's a hero without a quirk, and at most he can maybe use his muscle form for 1 second or so like we saw when he showed it off to Stain, but this lack of a quirk is also what I believe is All Might's greatest strength. His entire life, All for One has been fighting quirk users, people who he pretty much knew exactly how to beat, right? You only have to take away the quirk of a quirk user for the battle to pretty much just be guaranteed to end. And that's because in this universe, people focus on their quirk and strengthening them as the only way to pretty much get stronger, right? Developing your quirk is the only way that you can get stronger in the world of My Hero Academia. But All Might is throwing a monkey wrench into that history by being someone that wants to fight All for One without the easy solution of All for One just taking his quirk and ending the battle that way. And at the end of the day, I only see this suit being sort of like a momentary measure, sort of like All Might's life right now is kind of just like a momentary measure, but I guess we'll get to that in a second. But I do believe on a certain level that this could just all be like a fake out from All Might, and that All Might has one smash left in him. And that to do that, he might go into his muscle form one last time and hit All for One with all of his strength in that 1 second where he could potentially do that. Ultimately though, I think we all have a strong opinion on what should happen here. Many people believe that All Might should have died all the way back in Camino, but now they're happy that he's seemingly going to be going out against All for One after all, with all of the character development that he received afterwards intact. And others believe that this ruins All Might's character or ruins All for One's character, all depending on how this battle goes. I see both sides somewhat, because I think it would be weird if All Might's mech is able to hold off All for One when generations of powerful quirk users weren't able to do that, and All Might was only able to do it when he had the max power of One for All. And there's also the fact that All for One is like much more feral right now than he's ever been, on top of having the benefit of Ares' rewind quirk, working on his body kind of like an infinite healing. However, I also really like the idea that All Might and All For One have kind of swapped places in their roles in the story at this point, especially when you consider where they were when they last saw each other. All For One told All Might that his problem was that he was trying to stick around too long, whereas All For One knew the value of bowing out and leaving a student to grow in his absence. Now we're in a situation though where All For One is desperately trying to fly to his student, specifically probably to save himself and complete his plans, but on the other side you have All Might, who leaves everything behind and heads out to face All For One, just trying to buy time for Deku. Likely knowing that this is not the kind of situation that you come back from trying to fight All For One with a mech, and I think All Might in a certain sense knows that he's done everything that he really could, and that his will is going to pass on through Deku in the Vestige world and all of the people that he's affected thus far in the series. So what ideas do you guys have for things that All Might might have in his suit, and what do you guys think about the decision to have All Might appear before All For One and using this weird Iron Might suit in the first place? Do you think it's dumb, or do you like it? And do you think All Might is going to survive somehow, or do you think Night Eye's prediction is finally going to come true? And if so, what does that mean for Deku in his battle against Shigaraki? Because would he instantly just know that All Might died due to their connection in the Vestige world? And would Deku get some sort of boost from One For All finally being completed with the passing of All Might, who would now be a full Vestige instead of just being that weird fiery form that he already is? So let me know what sort of technology you guys would put in All Might's suit. I believe we have like a week break at least because Golden Week, so we're not going to have a chapter next week, so we have a lot to talk about in this chapter. We could pick it apart as long as you want, and thankfully the chapter was a really good one. There's a lot to talk about, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please like this video and please subscribe to the channel so we can get a little higher into the algorithm. I'm going to be looking into getting my channel verified because I realized that everyone else is verified and I never really looked into getting like the verification tick next to my channel, but I figured that's something that I might as well I should just go get that, right? So I'm going to work on doing that. I have more Demon Slayer stuff coming soon. Sorry that I missed you guys on episode 2, but I am going to be doing episode 2 and 3 together in a video and covering a couple more Demon Slayer things this week. So I love you guys. New content coming soon. See you again. Peace.